G'day playmates, and welcome to another Harmer vid. Something a little bit different. I am a big board game fan. I love playing board games. Apart from military simulations and driving trucks and flying military aircraft and driving trains, I love playing board games. And I'm going to play a digital board game that's available for free. I do actually have a hard copy of this game which I bought a few weeks ago. It's an excellent game and it cost me around about 170 Australian dollars. So I'm going to play this digitally, and I'm going to teach and go through a solitaire game, and hopefully it will pique your interest. So the first thing in Steam is I'm going to go to Tabletop Simulator. Tabletop Simulator is a great digital board game resource, and most of the games can be played free. However, it does cost $28 to get a copy of Tabletop Simulator, but once you've done that, you've got literally hundreds of games that you can digitally play online with friends or by yourself via Tabletop Simulator. Let's get into it. And the game that we're playing today is a game called John Company. And I'm going to create a single player game, and I'm going to load John Company solo first turn. And while this is loading up, I'm going to tell you a little bit about John Company. Well, first of all, let me give you a 3D look at the board. As you can see, there are some towers in India and lots of pieces. This game, honestly, is not for the faint-hearted, but it is well worth the effort. Okay, what is John Company? John Company. Players will assume the roles of ambitious families attempting to use the British East India Company for personal gain. So this is all about the British East India Company. The game begins in the early 18th century when the company has a weak foothold on the Indian subcontinent. Over the course of the game, the company might grow into the most powerful and insidious corporation in the world, or collapse under the weight of its own ambition. Okay, just a little note here that John Company engages very seriously with its theme. It is meant as a frank portrait of an institution that was as dysfunctional as it was influential. Accordingly, the game wrestles with many of the key themes of imperialism and globalization in the 18th and 19th century, and how those developments were felt domestically, obviously in Britain. As such, the game might not be suitable for all players. Please make sure that everyone in your group consents to this exploration before playing. Well, let me tell you, I consent. And I am the Hastings family, not the Harmer family, the Hastings family. And my pieces are blue. These are my family members. And I'm playing against the AI, which is called The Crown. Okay, I'm just very briefly going to go through the parts of the game. And the great thing about this game is that I can actually teach and show as we go along in the various stages. I don't have to explain all the rules at the beginning. So I'm hoping that at the most this particular video, because it's got an introduction, should really take no more than 30 minutes. For the other turns to go by, it should take really half, quarter, an eighth of that time, depending on what's got to be done. Alright, so let's go through the board. Well, obviously, here's a map of the Indian subcontinent, and it's divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 regions. At this moment in time, we have a presence in 3 of those regions, but we don't control them. We have a presence in Bombay, with an army. We got a president. We've got an army in presence in Madras, and we got one in Bengal. Okay, Bombay, Madras, and Bengal. There they are. Okay, here there are various pieces which are placed on the board, and I'll go through those when the time comes. So that's that part. Here on the other side of the board is a more complicated thing. First of all, here are the estates that we can provide for our family mentions, for our family members when they become pensioners. So he is looking after the family. And down here is a red ribbon which starts here, goes all along the bottom, and then right up to the top, and we move a marker along that for the various stages of the game. When we get to the end, we go around to the beginning and increase the turn marker. Simple as that. Here is the share market and the court of directors. Here are where vacant offices, when family members become pensioners, will go. Here are some cards which allow you to do funky things during the London season. And then here, each of these trade shipping, Bombay, Madras and Bengal, has got a treasury which is provided by the company. Okay, so the Hastings family uses the blue pieces and the blue dice. The Crown uses the white pieces and the white or grey dice. So, without any further ado, let's start with let's move that up over there. We're going to be starting in 1710 and we're going to play through till 1813. So each turn is round about 20 years. Okay? The first thing that happens is the London season, and we roll for attrition, we do retirement, and we take prestige cards. On turn 1 this does not happen. So we're going to move to the family. Now here's the other thing. How come we've got all these bits and pieces here and here? Okay, what actually happens is that at the beginning of the game you set up for a specific scenario, and we've set up for the 1710 scenario, and this is how the pieces are allocated and the cards are allocated at the start of 1710. If you want to see how setup is done, what I suggest you do is grab a copy of the rule book. I'll leave a link in the description, and have a look for yourself and see how it's set up. I'm just basically here to teach you the nitty-gritty part of the game, okay, not the fluff. So what happens in family? Well, we get family actions and we get company shares. Okay, what the hell is that? Let me move that token there. Family phase, starting with the chairman. There's the chairman, and that's the AI. Each player will take a family action and place their opportunity token on that action. If it's already there, you may take the action a second time. That's not going to happen on the first game turn because we haven't placed the opportunity token. So if I want to buy a shipyard, I'll put the token there. That's all I'm going to explain for the moment. So, okay, how is the AI going to act? Okay, we will now, just very quickly, we've got the operation of the company here, and on the flip side of that is events in India. Again, that I'm just mentioning this in passing. Okay, here is the Crown Handbook, and you get this with the game. It's basically a book of scripts that tells you how the AI will behave. So what we're going to do is we're going to look under the family section, and it says here family actions, second paragraph. in the second column. The Crown always takes 2 family actions each turn based on the following chart below, proceeding left to right. Skip any action that is not viable or can't be afforded. That's straightforwards. So the family, the crown is going to take 2 actions. If we look down, then I will need to explain the AI cards. There are 10 cards, and basically this information runs the AI in conjunction with the scripts. So at the moment, the climate is the most important thing. Essentially what we've got down here is some fluff which I'll go through later. It's not important at the moment. Okay, and the opportunity token is placed underneath the peacock. Why is that? That's because that when we flip the card, this middle section here says presidencies. We need to check presidencies with control of a region. So we need to look at the map, and we need to look at Bombay, Madras and Bengal. Neither of them, or none of them, are actually controlled by the East India Company. All we're doing at the moment is we're placing a few armies on the subcontinent and we're hoping to trade. We haven't military taken over any of these areas yet, but we could well do that at some time down the track. So we control no presidencies. Even though we've got officers there, we do not control either Bombay, Madras or Bengal. So if that's the case, we put the marker under there. If we control 2 or 3, then we'd move the marker either to there if we control 2, or to there if we control 3. But we don't. Okay, let's go back here. So the Crown's going to take 2 actions. It's going to take this cog, wherever that is, and it's going to take this top hat. Those are going to be the 2 actions. What it's actually telling me to do is take one of these enterprise cards. There are only 3 different types of enterprise cards. There are shipyards, there are luxuries, and there are workshops. There's the cog. It wants me to take, give it one of those, and there's the top hat. Oops, I don't want to take them all. I just want to take one. It wants me to, the AI wants me to give it these 2, which I'm going to do. Let's move it over to their display. So it's already got 2 shipyards. It's now going to take a workshop and a luxury. Is it as simple as that? No, it's not. Okay, first of all, the workshop will cost £5 to buy. It will generate £1 during each game turn, and it provides 2 votes when it comes round to government and Prime Minister duties. It will get 1 victory point if the company fails. And here's the thing. Really what we want to do, what all players want to do, including the AI, is we want to make a success of the company. If we do, we get more money, we get more prestige. If the company fails, we'll get less prestige, we may lose victory points. So the workshop will only provide 1 victory point if the company fails. We won't know that until the company actually does that. So we're going to have to pay £5 for the workshop to the bank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 out of the kitty. Okay. Here's a luxury enterprise. It could be anything. It could be Harrods. It could be a row of shops. It could be gunsmiths. It could be anything. But anyway, it's shown with the top hat icon. It costs £4. So we're going to take another £4 away. 1, 2, 3, 4. It also is liable to window tax at certain times during the game. More of that later. But it is worth 2 victory points while ever it's in white's possession. So we are going to go up to the board and we're going to go to the victory point track, and we're going to give white 2 victory points right off the bat. So here's the chairman. The chairman has acted. So what the chairman may seek debt up to the track maximum. If he takes more than 3 loans, it requires the court's approval. Who the hell is the court? Well, the court is all the people, including the chairman, that own shares. It's just that one of these family members will always be a chairman. Okay? So they get to decide if the company takes more debt. The company will get £5 per one debt taken. So it's a £5 loan for each slot. After he's got the money, he will then fully allocate the company balance. And we're going to do that in a minute. And then at the bottom there are 2 icons. The one on the left said add 1 to this officer's attrition roll. The chairman, being a bit older and having a very stressful job, may well retire quicker than other officers, and 1 will be added to a D6 every time the chairman rolls for attrition or for retirement. The one on the right simply says that the chairman is also a shareholder as well. Okay, so how much debt is the chairman going to take? Well, let's get out of the family actions and go to the chairman. So family actions, as you were, I've got to buy my shipyard. Okay, so I am going to take a ship. Whoops, I think I've just put that into my hand. Where's that gone? There it is. Let's put that over there. And I'm going to take a shipyard. Alright, so I'm going to put that into my tableau. There's my shipyard, and there is my ship, and I'm going to pay £2 for that. Whoops, wrong way. 1, 2. Okay. My ship doesn't get to be put into the Indian Ocean yet. It's got to be fitted and sent there. However, I will get each turn for each ship that I've got out in the Indian Ocean. I'll get £1, and I also get a vote as well in Parliament. So that's the family action. Next is firms. We are not playing with deregulation or firms in the basic 1700, 1710 scenario. We won't be doing that during any of the turns, so that's easy. Okay, next is hiring. We'll only be hiring if there are vacancies along this red ribbon, and there isn't, so we won't be doing any hiring. So the first thing that will happen is we'll go to the chairman. Okay, so we know what the chairman does. How does it work when the AI takes care of it? So we'll just simply go to the chairman. Okay, here we go. Let's read what we've got. We need to remember that the peacock is the is the current climate. So before the Crown acts, we set the climate. We flip a new AI card and set the climate on the Crown family board. Okay, let's do that first. So I'm just going to give this a shuffle up, and I'm going to put a card on there, and I'm going to flip it. Okay, so what's the new climate? Let's have a look here. Total company shares. If there's 0 to 6, then we move the climate down here, and I think that is the case. There are only 6 shares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, because the chairman always has a share. So we are going to be moving the climate down to the bottom end. Okay, let's continue on. So the next thing is that the company is going to seek debt, and if you look under the column where the bull is, it says it will seek a debt marker for each presidency with an open home port. Alright, let's find out what that is. So we're looking at the 3 presidencies. We're looking at Bombay, Madras and Bengal. It's a little bit subtle, but the ports, well, apart from the ports being on the seaboard side, they're outlined slightly heavier. So there's an open port there. If there was a closed marker on it, it would be a closed port. So we're looking for open ports. There's one there, there's one in Madras, and there's one in Bombay. So the company is going to, the chairman is going to look for 3 lots of debt. So it's going to look for 5, 10, 15 pounds debt. We will have to pay some of that debt back at the end of the turn, but I'm not going to go into that at the moment. 15, and it already starts with 5. That means that there's going to be 20 pounds, which is quite a decent amount, into the company coffers straight off the bat through investment. Now, what do all these boxes mean underneath after seeking debt? Okay, it means that I can request additional debt from the company, or request that the company take less debt than it already has. How do I do that? Okay, because this is a game that requires a lot of negotiation between players. It's done basically by favors, and favors are these red cubes, or they call them promises as well. I get 6 at the start of the game, the crown gets 6 at the start of the game. I can give the crown one of my cubes to make him see my way, in effect, look at things my way, if I want the crown specifically to do something that's going to maybe help me. And when I run out of cubes, then I can't petition the crown to help me. But there are situations where the crown can give me cubes if I do things that will help the crown. At this point, all players are playing for themselves, but there has to be give and take between the players. So this is how it's actually done with the crown AI. So I could, if I wanted, looking under the bull slot, I could give the crown one of my cubes to ask the crown to advance the company debt marker another slot for another £5. But I'm not going to do that. Alternatively, I could give the crown 2 of my cubes and request that they have 1 less company debt, so they only take £10 instead of 15. And basically that's what favor cubes are all about. The ones that are in pinkish, reddish pink or red are situations where I give the crown cubes, and then the blue backed slots are the ones where the crown gives me cubes back for helping it out. So at this moment in time, I don't want to request them to take additional debt. I'm quite happy with them taking 15. I'm not going to give any cubes. So that's the first thing with the chairman. He's got the debt. The next thing is he's then going to allocate the company balances to the various officers of the East India Company. How does he do it? He does it by looking at the bottom part of the page, looking under the bull, and He'll allocate company balance. He'll allocate funds in priority order, and he will give as much as possible to any step that cannot be performed in full. But he's actually only showing 2 steps under the bull column. Also, at any point before each step, I can give the Crown one of my favour cubes and request that £3 or less be allocated to a specific office. So I could jump in and say, hey, here's one of my cubes, how about giving £3 to blah blah blah, whatever. Okay, so the first thing that I'm not going to do that yet, but I may do that. The first thing that's going to happen is that, number one, the Crown will give £4 to each presidency with an open home port. Excellent. I am the President of Bombay, Madras. The Crown is the Presidency of Bengal. He's gonna the chairman's gonna allocate me £4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's gonna do the same for Madras. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to do the same for Bengal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boy, are we cashed up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely. That's what I like to see. Plenty of money in the coffers of the presidencies. Okay, now here's a quick caveat. Before we go to the second part of this. If I make a mistake unintentionally and I realize it, then the easiest thing for me to do is to correct that by just subtitling on the video. Alright, so having said that, if we go to the second thing under the bull column, he will give £5 to the Director of Trade or the Governor General. The Director of Trade can be replaced by the Governor General, but that will only come up as a law to be passed later on in the game. So he's going to give £5 to the Director of Trade. Okay, here we go. There's the Director of Trade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's £3 left in the kitty. He has to allocate it all. What is he going to do? Right at the bottom, the last sentence says, if there is a remainder, allocate the remaining funds to the manager of shipping. Too easy. Manager of shipping gets 1, 2, 3, and all the money that we've gained has been allocated, and that is the end of the chairman's phase. He only does 2 things. He looks to get debt or not, and he allocates any money that's in the company treasury out to these guys here, and hopes that they spend it wisely to make the company lots of money during the game turn. We're only at the beginning. We're now going to move to the Director of Trade. I'm going to save that for the next video. Hope you're enjoying this. Hope you're following it. Don't forget, this game is free to play if you've got Tabletop Simulator. Okay, catch you on the next one.